My hopes for the conference are so many. Meeting a lot of people, of course, from so different backgrounds and countries, and talking with them about their experiences, but also their ideas and their ideas for the future. As we're called young leaders, I guess everyone has its own expectations for life and for the future of NATO. And for the cooperation of the countries within NATO, also within the European Union and in the frame of the United Nations.
And there are many things going on right in Lisbon, and it's actually really exciting that we are here when the decisions are made that will definitely shape not only our future, but most probably the future of our children and grandchildren.
I think the Portuguese Prime Minister kind of framed the discussion that we're going to be seeing this week well. He said there are three big issues that will be discussed this week. The first is obviously Afghanistan. The second is the grand strategy that former Secretary Albright has been putting together. NATO will be discussing and agreeing upon. The heads of state will sign later this week. And the third is Russia, the Russia-NATO Council. This is obviously the opportunity for NATO to reset its relationship with Russia in the same way that the United States has tried to since President Obama came to office. So I thought the Prime Minister of Portugal laid out the foundation of what to expect this week pretty well in our opening session.
Well, Iceland right now is focusing on the Arctic when it comes to NATO. And there's been big discussions on two things. One is, does Iceland really need NATO? Do we need to be a part of a defense alliance since there's no direct threat to Iceland?
That's where I can tell you that for me, NATO means everything, because of the fact that I'm one of those who survived through the war, and we were praying every day just to have NATO in our country because that was only one hope for us. This is a sort of emotional answer.
I believe that it's important for countries like Morocco and other in the developing world to be involved with the NATO because of major security reasons, especially the war on terror and also the presence of Al-Qaeda, the new presence in North Africa. So we should be involved in one way or another.
Well, I think the whole question of where NATO goes is one that's hard to grapple with, and one that became important to members of my generation especially right after the terrors of 9/11.
So I think if NATO could evolve and be more inclusive, and if it could be more representative to encompass other players beyond the US and EU, then I think NATO will survive the changing nature of the global world order, and I think it will be able to be more relevant.
One thing that I've got a good sense of is that a lot of people at NATO, a lot of delegates here, participants in the Young Atlanticist Summit, as well as NATO members, also want to start looking outward. They want to build partnerships with new centers of power. We had a lot of talk about Brazil and the South Atlantic today. China has also been mentioned a few times, as is India. It seems as if NATO is ready to become more of a global organization than simply a European one.